Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Keith here, Jesse on the camera, out in the shop tonight, working on part 2 of our SCX6 cage build. We kind of jumped ahead like we said we were going to do in any of the other video, and just kind of fill you in. We're going to do some bending techniques and stuff later on, but yeah, it's a lot of measuring and messing around and stuff, just kind of building it off the truck. We don't have a jig or anything, and we're not building it off the bench, so it's a bit of extra work. Make sure the chassis is straight before you start too. These guys are a 4-piece yeah, 2-piece or 4-piece chassis, so you want to make sure you loosen everything, twist it, and make sure these are the same length in and out. You can actually loosen these screws and slide them around a little bit, so make sure everything's squared off before you start measuring. And we ended up welding some 1/4-inch rod across solid to make our base pretty much for everything. And then we started in with the 3/16 steel rod. We're yet to build a brace down to here and then plate this off completely after, so we can still have our battery trays. We're going to have panels on it. We're going to have to make the side panel removable so we can get our battery in and out. Not really choice design in case you have an issue, but we're not worried about that with this truck. That's more of a go fast kind of thing you might run into an issue with. But yeah, it's coming together nice. The TIG welder is working great. We're getting that all welded in, looking nice. We have a few more design things to come up with so far on it. We just actually finished doing the little front bumper. We wanted something simple. We're actually going together and do an X brace behind it, tie it together, and the front end just kind of pops in, fits right in here. We have this lower kind of firewall-ish height kind of brace, and we're going to bring a loop out to the front, bring brace down to the X brace on the front and back. We're not sure exactly where we're going with that and what angles and all that junk, so we need to figure that out. We got a bit of cleaning up to do. I just welded this into there to kind of help speed it up, get it done quicker. And I'm just going to go back and TIG weld the inside of this guy after. And then from there, the daunting task of designing and building the rear. I've looked at probably 10,000 pictures of Jeeps, so once you have that many in your head, it's kind of a pain in the butt to sort of which kind of route you want to go. And when you're building permanent, you kind of have to get it figured out. The box for the chassis is very basic design. We did an angle on the side, about 1 degree angled in, just to give it a little more kind of a truck cab look. Most Jeeps are just pretty much straight on the side. They might have a little bit less than a degree, but yeah, looks pretty good. Kind of starting to look like a trophy truck build. Yeah, so off to a good start so far. Let's we'll jump back in a few minutes just for a quick update on the front, and then later in the video we'll design and build the rear. So yeah, we'll see you back in a couple seconds. Okay, so it's been a little longer than planned. It's a couple days later. I think about a week or so, Jesse and I went and did the Filthy Redneck Country Club in Saskatchewan. Check out the cool little video we did with the mega trucks running around. It's a big Trucks Gone Wild mega truck event. We brought our little mega trucks, had some fun with that. But anyway, we're back to reality working on this project. I wanted to share the back half with you guys. We got a little more work done on the front. It's looking pretty good, pretty strong. I'm liking the way the whole front end came together. We got these braces tied into the frame. Big heavy MIG weld down on the bottom, because that's going to be holding all the weight. I'm going to keep the TIG welding more for the open exposed stuff. You'll see this guy down here, a little ugly, but hey, we got to do some more welding on the bumper, kind of tie that all in really heavy. But I think it looks pretty cool. We are going to mount the grill and the headlights to this piece, and then the body will kind of hook into that, which is pretty cool. That we kind of would help hold it on. It is a really nice snug fit the way we're kind of going with it. So like once it's in pretty good. Like you gotta pop it off. So it's gonna be very easy to get that guy to sit in there. Yeah, we've added a bunch more lateral braces here, that was already there, the hoop in the front. This one up here, this one here, we tie together from the top down because you want your energy to be transferred all the way down to the bottom to the chassis. So we have these little guys here. So if you take a hit right on the top, it's going to transfer all the way down to the bottom. This isn't just going to fold everything below. So you kind of have to think ahead. Now, doing a project like this, you got to think ahead and leave room to get the motor and transmission out. If we pull the front axle and the front cross member, we're going to be able to take the motor and transmission and whoop, drop it right out the front. Oh, I touched the goo. Gross. Okay, so the front shock towers are still plastic for right now. Once we kind of get the cage build done, we'll flip this around, we'll show you the rear ones we've made out of tube and some plate. We are going to come back in, we'll do these in another video kind of when we're done. With the front on, the front inner fenders that we're going to be running, you're not going to really see them anyways, so we really didn't spend too much time there. But just to go with the whole build, we do want to get that part done. So anyway, enough about the front end. It came out fantastic. I'm still talking about it. So. Okay, so we bent up some new shock hoops for the rear, gave them a little bit of bend outwards. You want to make sure you don't bend it too much so your bolt is not touching the shock. Run through your articulation all the way, make sure nothing binds up. You don't want to have it binding, no bueno, no good. We also put 4 spots in there, progressively getting lower so we can lower the truck down, raise it up and down. So simple, simple, simple. We have an X brace that we're tying it together with right now, and then there'll be a top brace to hold them together, and then it will tie up into the cage. Our upper roll cage is going to land on the shock towers, and this is part of just the bed cage, which will be tied in, but we want to transfer that weight directly to, or impact or whatever, directly to the frame. So if you're to tie it to here and then down to the frame, you're not really going to get a good what do you want to call it, displacement of energy, I guess you would say, right? So okay, so earlier today I quickly bent up this rear hoop. You want to start all your builds with the rear hoop. We use the same Mighty rod bender. Start in the middle with a 3-foot chunk of rod, kind of just started to bend it till I was happy with the initial shape of it. I did want a 30mm straight before it comes back to the bend, and all my other cage is going to have that 30mm back and then come down. This guys will come back 30mm and then come up, and then what that is going to do is kind of extend the look of the cab, because if you look at the side shot, it looks like we have like a hearse or something with the length of the back. It does look a little bit off, but once we start bringing that in, it's going to kind of give the extended cab look. And then I am going to put another window bar. This guy goes here, he got knocked out yesterday. I only lightly tacked everything in so I can go in and TIG weld everything after, make it pretty. But we're going to run another one kind of like this in the back of the window to give it that little bit of wedge, and then my body panel is going to run up along there and then across a little piece on top or something. We'll figure that out when we get there, but I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of angle to the back. In hindsight, I should have angled the back of the cage. I kind of was just following the 4-door lines, and with a 2-door approach, you kind of want more of a kind of laid back cab. So I kind of decided halfway through, like most projects, that I wanted to change it, but we're going to follow through on this one, make some changes to make myself happy with it, and it's going to look extra cool in the end because we made some changes on it. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. We're going to start hanging some steel on this guy. We just bent up a couple of these guys. I had them tagged together because it was a longer piece. It was just the end stub, and these guys are going to basically weld off the end of the frame right up into there, give us a nice little finished piece. But before that, we're going to tie the frame together, chop out the rest of this plastic cross member, and get the rest of these shocks tied together. So stay tuned, we're going to get going. Okay guys, before we go ahead any farther, we're going to tie the rear of the frame together with some of this 1/4-inch rod. Fits in there nice. Actually, you got it a little tight in there, fits nice. And then we already have a prefab stinger we're going to quickly weld up on the back, and then start from there, kind of get this guy squared up with everything else. Then we can kind of start tying all together, make it look really cool. I'm going to bust out our little homemade sander dealie here and get up in there, and might as well take off most of the paint in the areas back here. It's mostly all gone anyways, so. Okay, so this steel, we got it for free, a whole bunch of it, but it has a coating on it. I don't like to weld it straight, it kind of pops. This is a little funny. I'm going to quickly give it a quick spin on the grinder just to strip off the ends of it, and it's probably healthier that way for us. So, okay, so I just quickly gnarled the ends down, got that crap off. I believe it's a nickel plating, as this comes from our work, my work, which is finisher. Okay, so I am going to quickly tag those in from behind with the good old MIG welder. You want to get your ground as close as you can, and I try to get it in a way so it's kind of help holding the truck, not pulling on it. Just makes life easier. Okay, so the bumper piece, cross member, I welded that in with some heavier tacks. It's pretty much permanent. This guy, I threw just a greasy little ugly guy there. So now I can start to look at it 6 ways from Sunday, make sure I'm happy with center, it looks good. Yeah, these chassis naturally kind of want to twist, so as you're working, as you're going, you kind of always have to fight it and make sure it stays true. Another little tip, kind of help with your build if you decide to go this route too. And also remember, you need to find somewhere to put the batteries, so you might see our cross member running here, so we can still get room to get our battery inside and strap it down. So we'll deal with that, but always just kind of plan ahead as you go. But anyhow, we're going to look this over, make sure it's happy, weld it in, and then we'll be back for a few other things. Okay, Jesse says it looks good, so we're going to send it. Okay, so that went in good. You can tell a good weld, nice consistent. Sounds like you're cooking bacon. A little bit of popping on the backside because it was dirty with paint. We didn't clean as much as we should have, but who really does? Okay, guys, we got the rear chassis tied together. 1/4-inch tie bar. We got the rear stinger on the back. We got that permanently mounted in. Nothing above that is tied in. We're going to go through and make sure we maintain the rear of this being square to the chassis as we work our way down. We've done that throughout the build all the way down. If you look visually, it seems like it has a bit of a twist. So before we tie the rear to the cage anymore, we're going to make sure we kind of twist everything, make sure we're happy with it. This guy still has a room to flex if we need and such. So just pay extra attention to your chassis, especially when you're welding things on. Picking it up and just moving it is enough to actually upset these rails. So in hindsight, I should have actually just welded them together and be done with that issue. Just made it a solid, but we know for the next build what to do. Anyhow, we're going to quickly finish tying together the rear cross members on the chalk towers, figure out a brace for the top. Okay guys, tons of progress on the build. We're pretty much going to wrap it up at this point. We got a lot of designing to do to come up with how we're going to get the rest of the lower cage and the upper cage figured out so it looks good. Anyhow, the next video we're going to jump in. We're going to pretty much have that figured out. We'll show you the result, what we came up with. We're going to weld some nuts into it. We'll show you how to do that so we can bolt some body panels onto it. Then we'll make the body panels in the next video, throw an interior into it, and then we get to strip the whole thing apart, clean up all the welds on it, sandblast it, send it out for powder coat, bring it back, put it all together, and it should be done in about 17 videos. So stay tuned for that, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Going to be a lot of stuff packed in the next video, so stay tuned. We'll see you soon.